So the final thing I want to do is just quickly talk through printing updates. And to do that, I am going to move my SFI demo on top of my area, and I'm going to print on a nice base map. So to quickly walk through the printing updates, hopefully they're self-explanatory, but it would just be good to show you. So the first thing is that obviously with the print button at the top right, you can set up your own frames. So you can hit new frame. You can decide how big that area is. So for example, I want A4 portrait, and I want to make my border slightly smaller. So it includes my SFI area, for example, like so. And because I've got the blank base map at £0, OpenStreetMap again is £0. And then some of the other ones have got a cost associated with them. Once you're happy with the location and the layout of it, like so, actually the contrast of this green is slightly off, so I do apologize for that. That was my fault just a minute ago for changing all the woodland blocks. But what you've got is you've got that OS base map now that you can print off, and you can create your own headers and footers, like so. So my map. The first update then is that we've added the ability to make that title on 2 lines. So before you could only do 1 single line for both headers and for footers, like so. You can add more lines, like so. And I don't know what the limit is, but do just try it. It will just keep going down, and that just gives you hopefully a bit more flexibility to stop those longer titles extending over the logo. The next thing that we want to just show you is that you can, once you're happy with your template, so say, for example, you've added a new legend, goes here, and you've edited the legend, you can now, within your legend, and this has obviously got all the Ordnance Survey features as well in the background, you can do 2 things. So before you could only hide the legend items, you can now fully delete them by clicking the little dustbin button, or you can just hide them, which therefore means they're not going to show on my legend. If you make a mistake, again, don't panic. You can hit the Restore Default button, but hit your Save Changes, and what you can see is that's the legend that I've created for this map. The additional bit of flexibility that we've added in the legend, you might have noticed that now you can actually change with pretty much full flexibility your legend. So how it looks, the styling of each of those features. So for example, if I wanted to make the footbridge styling in the legend slightly more red, I can do that by selecting this button and choosing the more red. Now, you probably won't want to update the styling if this matches your project, but the main reason we've added it is so you can add bespoke items to your legend. So a number of people were asking, I want every time to have ponds showing in my legend, even if ponds aren't represented in my map. So you can add, with full flexibility, areas, lines, and points to your legend, even if they're not represented within your legend frame. And you can hit Save Changes. And what that does is that will then remember this legend style the next time that you come back. So as an individual, you can save your template. This can be my map template, and you can save that. So next time you print a map, doesn't matter where in the country, you can come back to this exact same print template. So for example, if you've got a consistent way of printing your stewardship maps or your basic payment maps, you can use that same legend, that same title, the same logo, etc. And to kind of demonstrate that is that within here, I'm just going to save that. Within here, I've got some legends that I've previously done. So for example, if I choose the new Land Act branding, what that's going to do is that updates it to a template that I saved earlier. So we've got a new logo that's replaced the old one, for example. I've removed the old Land Act logo and the legend has changed. Again, similarly, if I want to go back to the one that I've just done, my map template, I can flick between those using this drop-down function. So hopefully that will mean if you're doing countryside stewardships and you've got a couple of them and you want them to look the same with the same title and the same legend, you just need to do it once, save the template, and then every time you come back to the map, and you want to print, you can have exactly the same format. It is worth saying that at the moment, this element is just at the individual level. So even if you're in an organization, you can't share templates. However, we're looking at the technical solution, but it seems quite heavy at the moment to do that at the speed that we've managed to do this bit. That's saving project templates. Just as a note, that is for pro users. So only if you're a professional can you save templates. So you have to be on the subscription model. But one thing that you can do as a non-paid for users, if you want, is you can completely clear all formatting. So if you click that X, it removes the title, the legends, the logos, and therefore that could be saved, for example, as a blank template. But actually for my template, for example, I want to use my new land app branding. However, I want to just edit the legend by restoring to default, and that would just take me back. But what that's done is that's allowed me to, hopefully give you the flexibility, and that's everything that's within this map, which is quite a lot with the Ordnance Survey data, but it's got my SFI standards down here. So hopefully that's clear. So that's your print, that's ability to, the flexibility to customize your templates for printing. The other update that we've had, and just to go back one, is that we've introduced for organization users, we've introduced the ability to share print frames and make it really easy to find one another's frame. So actually for this demo, I'm just going to change to Ordnance Survey. I'd say I wanted to print again, but instead I want to use an existing print frame. By clicking this, what you're given is two separate ways of searching existing print frames. So say, for example, you've got a colleague that is paid for the Ordnance Survey data for this map, who's in your organization. You can choose organization frame and search for the farm that you're looking for. So again, nomenclature and naming is quite important. But for example, I want to find an OS portrait map. So this one is purchased by Tim, 18th of April. Therefore, the license for this with the OS data has already been paid for. So the price for me as a user is free. So I can use my organization's print frames and search them. So there's probably a load of demos for this farm that I can look at that have all had their data paid for, like so. And so I can use any of these frames, but what we do try and encourage is being consistent with your naming of those frames. So therefore it's easy for your team to find the frame they want. Again, so I can customize the print, but as my individual user, I can use my own land app branding, for example, as my template, but I've used the print frame predefined by Tim when he purchased the OS data. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, Q&A if you want me to explain that bit anymore. So the final thing in printing we've done, and again, this is only for people that have been with us for a little while, is that we've given the ability for any expired print frames. So say, for example, this print frame that expired, after 12 months, your print license expires. So the license you've had with OS or any other partners runs out. What you can do is you can select the one you want. So say, for example, you did one last year for a certain stewardship and you created those 3 or 4 templates to cover the whole estate. You should have access to all of those, and all you have to do is click on them, click customize print. But what you'll notice is there is a price to that. So that £3 I'd have to pay to renew my license for this frame. So yeah, hopefully that's clear, but please ask in the Q&A if you want any of that clarifying. That should be hopefully quite self-explanatory, but yeah, there is some video guidance, etc. for everything I've just demoed in the right-hand side. So if you're like, oh, Dan showed us about the print templates, do just have a little, here we are, do just have a little Google, not a little Google, wrong company, do a little land app search and find the print templates in here, and Simula's created a bit of guidance about everything I've just shown you about styling, saving, etc. Now, I think the final thing before coming on to Q&A, which I just want to show you, which I think has just been updated just now, and only regular land app users would probably appreciate this, but hopefully if I select a print frame here that's not, let's find one that's miles away. They're all quite near Norney. Let's go somewhere else. Yeah, let's go over here. What should happen is when I close this, it should return back to Norney Farm. Now, we previously had a bit of a bug that would now close the map and would leave me hanging in this random field in the wrong part of Surrey. But if I click close, what should happen, there we are. So instead of it returning you to where that print frame was showing, it now returns you to actually where your map is based, which I've been using the land app for about 4 years, and I'm so glad to see that changed. So hopefully I was very few in numbers, but just the ability now of when you do go back from a print frame, it doesn't remember where you are on the print frame, it remembers where you were when you were mapping previously, which is just another bit of usability that will hopefully just make your life a little bit easier. It's always the little simple things that I enjoy most. But anyway, that's it for updates. Just to recap, we've got you can purchase your OS master map, which we're going to update the styling soon. So if you thought the styling looked a bit off just then, no, we've had feedback on that. Thank you. loads of new data layers to look at. Hopefully the functionality of the right-hand panel and the reports are useful, plus the ability to trace those OS features. What I'm going to do is I'll pass over to Tom and introduce him. And Tom, I'll let you handle any Q&As, and I'm happy to demo anything that's missing.